I know we got some creatives out there. Don't be shy. So uh, let me share my screen with y'all. Oh, I see kinda. Let me share my screen with y'all, and then we'll talk a little bit about King's poetry. Um, y'all see this? Can y'all see the picture? Does it look good? Okay, cool. So a couple weeks ago, we celebrated King's birthday. He would have been 92 years old. And King was a poet. If you go back and look him up on YouTube and listen to his speeches, you'll hear that he uses something called figurative language in a lot of his speeches. Now, I don't know if y'all have covered figurative language yet, but it's basically metaphor, simile, personification. Are y'all familiar with some of these terms? Well, okay, good. I see some head nods. All right. So I'll give you a couple examples of figurative language. You know, I'm a father. My daughter is y'all's age. She's 10 years old, and I would say that my daughter Stella is a hurricane. She's just her personality is windy. She's energetic, and when she leaves a room, it's a wreck. So she's a hurricane. So that's an example of a metaphor. I'm a basketball player, so I might say like, my jump shot is wet. All right. Now, when it's splash time and I'm shooting from three, the basketball is not literally wet. It's a metaphor. It's like saying I'm a good shooter at basketball. Another example would be saying like my grandma is tall as a mountain. That's a simile. Not literally tall as a mountain, but she pretty tall. So those are a few examples of metaphors. I'll give you one more. Those socks are smelly as a dumpster. Those are some smelly socks. How about a dumpster full of dirty diapers? Ugh, doesn't that just make you recoil? I see some faces. Y'all like, that's nasty. All right. And that's the power of metaphor. I saw your facial expressions when you say those dirty socks are smelly as a dumpster full of diapers. You actually feel grossed out, you recoil, you can visualize the image, and it becomes a really powerful tool. So, for those of you out there who are poets, who rap, who sing, who write, metaphor and simile, figurative language can be really, really powerful because the listener, the viewer, the reader is going to feel you if your language is really creative. And King was a king of figurative language. He was a poet, Martin Luther King Jr. Here we go, hashtag bars. So we're going to get into some of his bars right quick, and then I'm going to open it up. And if somebody out there has some poetry or something that they want to share, I want to hear from y'all and hear if you got any similes or metaphors or poems that you could share. So I'll give y'all a minute to get your poetry together while we're looking at King's work. So the first, let's see. So Dr. King has a really important speech that he gave while he was locked up in jail. So there's this letter. It's called Letter from a Birmingham Jail. King was locked up for doing civil disobedience, which means like it was illegal for Black folks to do certain things during segregation and Jim Crow. And King did them anyway. He broke the law because the laws were not fair and not just. But because of that, he got arrested. So just imagine King is in a jail cell in Birmingham, Alabama. He's got a little sheet of paper and he's just writing this speech. And so on the speech, on this little napkin in jail, this is a quote from the letter from a Birmingham jail. And you could Google this letter. You could read the whole letter. It's pretty long, but I just took a couple quotes from the letter. He said, "The nations of Asia and Africa are moving with jet-like speed towards gaining political independence. but we still creep at a horse and buggy pace towards gaining a cup of coffee at a lunch counter. So the metaphor here is jet-like. He's basically saying we're going super fast towards independence in Asia and Africa, but here in the United States, we're still a horse and buggy. That's how fast we're moving. We're moving like a horse and buggy while they're over there in a jet. So some context for y'all. A horse and buggy, that's how people used to get around, right? You want to go to Walmart or to the grocery store or to your grandma's house, you drive. But back in the day, they would have a horse and buggy, and you'd be riding behind a horse-pulled carriage. And he's basically saying, why are they moving like a jet over here towards independence while we can't even get coffee at a lunch counter? Like we need to level up. So that was that was one of the first metaphors he uses in the piece. Excuse me. Later on, he says, perhaps it's easy for those who have never felt the stinging darts of segregation to say, wait. So wait, what he's talking about here is people were saying like, yo, King, why are you in the streets protesting? Why are you doing freedom rides? Why are you doing sit-ins? Why are you breaking the law? Just wait. We'll change the laws. Just be slow. Like stop, ruffling everybody's feathers with your whole civil rights movement thing. King said, hold up. It might be easier for you to say wait because you've never felt the stinging darts of segregation. Now, you know what a dart is? You ever seen a dartboard? It's like a little syringe, like a little needle. You throw it at the dartboard. So he's saying that segregation feels like a dart, poking you. That hurts. That's painful. And imagine that. You're getting here pinged by a bunch of sharp objects, cut and slashed and, getting hurt. And they're like, yo, just wait. And you're like, bruh, I'm getting hit by some stinging darts. I'm not trying to wait. It's easy for you to say, wait. I'm not going to wait. So he used this really beautiful metaphor to paint that picture. Very vivid, isn't it? All right, so next metaphor. He says, the vast majority of your 20 million Negro brothers are smothering in an airtight cage of poverty in the midst of an affluent society. So I know some of these words you might not be familiar with, so we'll break it down real quick. First of all, we don't say Negro no more. We say Black now, or African American. But back in the day, that's what they used to call Black people. So 20 million Black folks smothering. Y'all know that word smother basically means to crush or to cover so you can't breathe. So if you've ever been wrestling with somebody or caught under a blanket and you can't get out, you're stuck and you can't get out, you're being smothered. So he's saying that 20 million Black people are being smothered in an airtight cage of poverty in the midst of an affluent society. An affluent society basically means rich people. So we over here broke while y'all got all the money. We're being smothered by poverty while y'all are chilling, living your best life. All right. So that's the metaphor he used there. And I'll give you one more. Okay. So at this point, he's talking about a little girl who isn't able to go to a park. So I'll read the quote first. He said, see the tears welling up in her eyes when she is told that Funtown is closed to colored children, and see ominous clouds of inferiority beginning to form in her little mental sky. Now, first of all, let me explain what Funtown is. Funtown is basically just like a park. Think of the Museum of Life and Science or Marbles Museum in Raleigh, or if you ever been to Carowinds or to Disney World. It's a place that is closed to Black people. So white kids can go to Funtown. White kids can go to defy gravity or whatever it is kids do for fun these days. But Black kids can't go. So how does that make you feel? If your white friends can go to a place that you're not allowed to go just because of the color of your skin, King describes it as ominous clouds. An ominous cloud is like a scary cloud. You ever see a cloud that looks like it's about to burst open and strike you with a lightning bolt? That's an ominous cloud. So he said there were ominous clouds of inferiority beginning to form in her little mental sky. So it's like saying you're having a bad day, you're having a dark day. There's clouds forming in your mind. That lightning is about to strike in your heart and in your mind. That rain is about to fall in your head because you're not allowed to go to the same parks as the white kids. So see the tears welling up in her eyes when she is told that Funtown is closed to colored children, and see the ominous clouds of inferiority beginning to form in her little mental sky. So those are just a couple of examples from Letter from a Birmingham Jail, where King really goes in. He offers us some thoughtful ways to speak and articulate ideas. He didn't just say, man, segregation is messed up. It's not fair that Black people and white people can't get the same stuff. He said, no, segregation is like a stinging dart. It puts a mental storm in your head. You know, it's smothering us. And while in Asia and Africa, they're moving like a jet, we're moving like a horse and buggy. You know, those are some of the metaphors and similes that he used. So I'm gonna go back. This is Dr. King and Harry Belafonte, who was another poet, another singer, another artist, and who used a lot of metaphor and simile and figurative language in his music as well. So I just wanted to show you another side of this great man that we admire. And here we go. This is Dr. King on Superman's body. Not only do I think of King as a superhero, and really Black History Month is a time to celebrate many Black superheroes, including Harriet Tubman and Fannie Lou Hamer and Pauli Murray right here in Durham. But this one is an important metaphor. You see he's bending a steel rod. That makes me think of another quote from King, who said that we are bending the moral arc of the universe towards justice. That's what he did. That's what Harriet Tubman did when she led Black folks through the Underground Railroad. We didn't get free the next day, but she was just bending the moral arc of the universe towards freedom. She was bringing us a little closer. Ida B. Wells brought us a little closer. Boom. You know, in every movement, every generation, we have leaders and movements that bend the world a little bit more towards justice. And if you don't believe that, just look at Black history. Just look at Black history. Our great, you know, as Black folks, I'm speaking as a Black man, my great-great-great-grandparents were enslaved. All right, they were enslaved. They couldn't, it was illegal for them to read. They couldn't own land or property. And it was a really bad situation. And then we had leaders who abolished slavery, bent the moral arc of the universe a little more towards justice. Then in King's generation, he dealt with Jim Crow. They couldn't drink at the same restaurants. They couldn't go to the same amusement parks or attend the same colleges. And so then they ended that, bended a little more towards justice. And today we have various movements, the movement for Black Lives. We have movements happening in sports and in politics, slowly bending the arc of the universe towards freedom. So I thank Dr. King for being one of those benders. And I encourage everyone on the call to think about what you can do to bend the universe towards justice in the legacy of Dr. King. So I just thought I would keep it brief. There's a lot more I could talk about, but I'll pause there and take my screen off share. And it's 11:36, so we got probably 10, 12 minutes, 11:37, to have a conversation. Does anyone have an idea for some figurative language, a simile or metaphor, or a creative way to express an idea or a poem that they would like to share? Inspired by or informed by what Dr. King had for us? Ha, I like Michelle's. Segregation is as disgusting as moldy cheese. That is a wonderful use of figurative language. Raising their hand, cool. So I see let's see, I got a message. Oh, this is private from Amina. I didn't know if she or if they, I'm not sure if Amina intended for that to be private, but I got some bars sent directly to me. Sometimes when you intend to send something, you don't realize you're sending it privately. So if you want me to read that aloud, Amina, let me know. Otherwise, I'll keep it private. Cool, check this out. I'll read it. 5 years, no rest. Our rights are in distress. Segregation is evil, and you know the rest. We all have right, but some people disrespect how the world should be together. We will change how things are now for fairness, for all, and all safe and sound. We will not stop until we get together. We will change the world and give unity to all, to give fairness, and to be as one, to get justice for all our family, friends, and community. By Amina. Bars. Let's go. That was dope. Cool. I see some bars in there. You're welcome, Amina. Cool. So let's see. I have one more. What does anyone else have? A metaphor, even if it's just one metaphor? It don't have to be a whole poem. I like segregation as nasty as moldy cheese. That was a good one. Anybody else got a metaphor or simile or personification? Freedom is awesome.
There was one in the chat that was missed.
Oh, sorry. Please read it.
It's from Heidi, who said the rain is like the cry for freedom.
I love that. The cry for freedom. Cool. So tell me how much more time I have. I could go into one more King quote if you like. Dad are as strong as the Hulk. That's a good one. I'm a dad. I'm strong as the Hulk. Segregation is like a cake with salt instead of sugar. Ooh, that's a really good one. Hope is like the thing. We hope freedom. We said we come like we be like one. That's bars. That's creative. Cool. So remind me how much time we have left.
We have until 11:45.
Okay. Oh, 3 minutes. I was gonna go back into another King quote, but it's kind of long, so I think it would be best to end with y'all. Segregation is the dust. Ooh, language. Well, look, I think that's a good stopping point. Y'all got the picture. My dad is as fast as the wind. Segregation is like a flower without petals. My dad is fast as the wind during a tornado. Very good. Okay, so I'll stop there. Thank you everyone for contributing your ideas. You have creative minds and you are in good company with Dr. King and others when you use figurative language to describe what what's wrong or right about the world in your life. It's just a creative way to express yourself. And I'm glad we were able to do that together today. So thank you for having me. It was fun chatting with y'all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pierce Freelon, for coming and being a speaker at Spring Valley's Black History presentations.
You are very welcome. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right, thank you.